Hello and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today in the review box we have the Lamborghini Countach LP5000 QV from the new Jay Leno set. Let's get into this review and see if this Countach is worth adding into your collection or if you're better off sticking with some of the older Countach releases. Let's get things started with taking a look at the casting itself. So our proportions are pretty good. I don't really have any complaints that I see just by looking at it. Nothing looks distracting or anything like that. It's nice and wide, as a old school Lamborghini really should be. I think the biggest problem with a lot of the modern Lamborghini castings that we get from Hot Wheels is they try to make them really narrow, I assume to make them fit on a track better or something, and that usually makes them look bad. This time though, we got them nice and wide like we want it to be. Looks really good. All of our little lines inside here are casted in. These are casted in here. We have our hood lines up front. Down the side, we have where our doors are. This intake's all casted in. The fender flare kind of things. Intake, and even here, this is a piece of the interior, I'm pretty sure. This back engine cover hatch is all casted in. This thing's casted in. Moving into the back here, all these lines are there where you'd want them to be. I think this is a piece of the interior as well, this exhaust. So overall, just a lot of nice casted in details and good proportions. So that's a big plus. In our paint and deco department, we've got pretty simple, just a nice simple red, bright red, looking great. I'm assuming that this is the same color that Jay Leno's particular Countach is in. So nice and simple, looks great. There is one thing we need to point out though. On my particular version here, we have a slight chip up here in the paint. We've got an extra little piece of something right here that I've not been able to wipe off or anything. And then on the base here, we have, instead of just like a faded spot on the front, we've got legitimate chips in the base. Now, these don't bother me much at all because these are on the bottom and you can't see them. But it is something to note, if something like that would bother you, that you should probably look for before you purchase this one. For our detail department, we have quite a bit of details packed in here. Moving on, right up front here, we've got all these reflector lights, and everything here has all got a little tampo and paintwork to it. We even have our Lamborghini logo. We've got these little side reflectors as well, both sides. Moving down to the side of the car, we have a little logo here that's way too small for me to read what it says. And then we have this intake section here. It's got some tampo work done to it. As we move on to the top here, both of these have their painted on or tampo work done, one of the two. And then moving on to our back here, we have our Lamborghini logo. With the bull, we've got the Countach word. We've got our taillights done as well. So all of our detailing is pretty good, in addition to the casted in details that we already covered. We even have our windshield wiper up front, so not bad. Our wheels, these are really nice wheels. I really think these are a good choice of wheel for this release. I just wish they were chrome. I'll have to check and see if maybe Jay Leno's particular version of this car, they aren't chrome. I think they would look better in chrome though, personally. This being a Hot Wheels premium release, it does roll, and it rolls very smoothly. We'll be keeping our pros and cons section short and sweet this time around. Our biggest pro here is that this is the best looking, proportions-wise and everything, Lamborghini Countach casting that we've gotten from Hot Wheels, in my opinion. A couple of the older ones, one of which I'll be showing you in the comparison section, I think they were perfectly fine. They're different versions of the Countach. Me personally, this is one of my favorite versions of the Countach, and I think that this was done like very nicely, proportions-wise, deco choice, all that. And for our cons department, there's really only one, and I kind of mentioned it in our paint and deco, and it's just that those little QC issues. This is the only one that really bothers me at all, is this little faded out spot up front. I did try to fix it up and paint it, but it didn't end up looking right. It was even more noticeable when I tried to fix it. Guessing it's just a difference between the main line and the premium paints that they use, but either way, not amazing. Not a big fan of QC issues. And for some size comparisons, here we have our Jay Leno's Garage Countach with some other Countaches you might have in your collection with the old Matchbox casting and one of the older Hot Wheels castings. And here we have it next to some more modern day V12 Lamborghinis with the Matchbox Centenario and the Hot Wheels Aventador. And lastly, here we have it next to some other old school supercars with the Porsche 959 from Hot Wheels and the Ferrari F40 from Matchbox. And time to give my final thoughts. Overall, I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. So even though Hot Wheels already has a few Countach castings, I think that this is the best looking one overall. It's also by far the most modern one. The most modern one after this has the stupid pace car lights on top, which if you're like me are just a complete buzzkill for that casting and took away any interest I had in it. I think this one came out looking fantastic though, so that's perfect. I think the paint job was perfect, matches good with Jay Leno's. The only things I wish we had gotten was maybe chrome rims, or I think the QC department could have been a little bit better, but other than that, really good release. I think that you will really want this one in your collections. And that's all I have for this review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button as well for me, and leave a comment down below telling me what you thought of this particular model, and I will see you in the next review.